everybody, my name is Katie Thompson, and today I'm going to be presenting my thesis on the retail sales forecasting of Lilly Pulitzer using time series and machine learning techniques. So before we get started, we will kick off today's presentation with background information, including information on Lilly Pulitzer, time series analysis and forecasting, and the oh-so-dreaded COVID-19. Next, I will introduce our data set and how I found it. I will then get into our methodology, including how I predicted the retail sales via ARIMA, SARIMA, and SARIMAX models, as well as random forest models. Then I will share my findings with each of the 4 models I previously mentioned. Then I will share my conclusions from my findings, along with potential future studies, and I will wrap up today's presentation with an opportunity for you to ask any questions and contact information about where to do that. So let's dig into the background. Time series analysis and forecasting is modeled using the equation listed above. It can project a variety of different scenarios. Remember linear equations such as mx plus y equals mx plus b? Well, time series prediction is much more complex than the simple regression equation. It depends on the previous observations, unlike a regression model where all observations are assumed to be independent. Therefore, we can expect self-dependency. Lilly Pulitzer is a high-end fashion retail brand. It was founded in 1959 by Lilly McKim Pulitzer in Palm Beach, Florida, while she was working at a juice stand and wanted bright printed dresses to cover her juice stains in style. A unique asset of Lilly Pulitzer is that it attracts women of all ages, and their styles are flattering on them too. Unlike most brands, Lilly Pulitzer does not offer a sale section. Rather, it only offers its products on sale twice a year during its signature after-party sales in January and August. The number of sales from Lilly Pulitzer increased in 2020 during COVID-19 with the surprise Dress for Summer sale in June. In the past, Lilly Pulitzer has launched products in collaboration with Pottery Barn, Target, Starbucks, and Estee Lauder. Lilly Pulitzer has a strong social media presence with several Lilly Pulitzer loving communities on social media for their customers to be a part of, such as Styling My Lilly on Facebook and Instagram, Buy Sell Trade Facebook groups, and hashtags such as LillyFam, Resort365, and Life in Lilly. I have been a part of the Lilly Pulitzer loving community for a few years now, and have followed the brand a lot over the years. With my personal expertise and the uniqueness of Lilly Pulitzer, I chose this brand to conduct my research on. Oops. So currently, we are in an economic crisis as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have witnessed a major decrease in retail sales, and however, there is a potential for economic growth and recovery in 2021, the year we are in now, and even 2022. However, it could not happen if COVID-19 lingers further into those years like summer 2021 to fall 2022. Next, I'm going to be sharing about our data set. Lilly Pulitzer's retail sales data is pretty much all that my data set is about. It includes Lilly Pulitzer's quarterly sales from Q1 in 2011 to Q3 in 2023, given the financial quarters presented here. I had to do some digging to retrieve my data as I went through 2011 to 2020's financial reports and press releases from Lilly Pulitzer's parent company, Oxford Industries. All publicly traded companies are required by law to report and publish their financial reports. I created an Excel spreadsheet to store all of my data and then imported it into Python to do my analysis. Using the equation presented, classical decomposition takes into account trend and seasonal effects during regular intervals and a stationary model. So, how can we detect trend and seasonality? The answer is a partial autocorrelation plot, also known as PACF. To detect seasonality, we look for lags, the lines on the plot outside of the blue band. The light blue band indicates where trend is indicated. Clearly, the first lag is significant. There is also a possible weak evidence of seasonality at lines 10 and 11. We can also see that there is a clear indicator of a major drop in sales at lag 15, which represents our COVID-19 times that are currently with us. Next, I'm going to share my methodology. So the methods that I used are the ARIMA, SARIMA, and SARIMAX models. These are 3 different time series models that I will be sharing with you today, as well as a machine learning model known as random forest. Before I get into these 4 different models that I used, I'm going to share why I use Python software to do it all. Python is the current industry standard within the data science industry. I learned Python independently through online sources like DataCamp and EDX, along with the stats models and scikit-learn sites correspondingly used for ARIMA, SARIMA, and SARIMAX, and random forest. So, while I will not share the extensive code that I have done, I want to introduce you to the magical world of Python coding. Here, I have done a simple plot to visualize the annual sales for each year based on its financial quarter. It is a basic plot that simply does this job, and it helped me to learn Python and validate that my data set was properly imported and exported. So the first modeling approach that I did was the classical time series approach, which are the ARIMA, SARIMA, and SARIMAX models. Each of these models are built off of one another. The ARIMA model consists of the AR model, autoregressive, where observations are dependent on previous observations. The MA model, moving average, is where past errors depend on random effects and previous errors that propagate through time. And the I stands for integration, where differencing is utilized to achieve no trend, which is also known as stationarity. The SARIMA model is basically an ARIMA model with S, seasonality. And the SARIMAX model is essentially a SARIMA model with X, exogenous factors, such as our present-day COVID-19. Our second modeling approach is a machine learning approach, known as random forest. Random forest is based on decision trees. A decision tree predicts a target value based off of many inputs. Random forest can be used either for classifying or regression. In this case, it will be used for regression analysis. With regression, prediction is a real number, also known as the predictive value. For example, say you are planning a trip. However, you do not know where exactly to go. So you consult with your friends, family, and read up on travel blogs. Once you consult with others, you make a list of where you may be interested in going. You then come up with a short list of places that you would like to go and weigh the pros and cons of each. Ultimately, you choose your final travel destination. In this case of random forest, you are choosing where to travel to, but with numbers. So let's get into the results. So the ARIMA model of best fit has an order 3, meaning that the 3 previous terms are significant. This model was forecasted off of a basis of previous pre-pandemic data. Evidence of seasonality is weak here, and the detected trend from the partial autocorrelation plot was expected as previously presented. There is no evidence of the moving average component. The SARIMA model is simply a confirmation of no evidence of significant seasonality, as in the ARIMA model. So for the SARIMAX model, I created multiple variations of it. One that projects retail sales given that COVID-19 begins at the beginning of 2021. A second that projects given that COVID-19 ends sometime in 2021, such as this spring or this summer. A third that projects that retail sales, given that COVID-19 continues all throughout this year and all throughout next year. So if COVID-19 ends at the beginning of 2021, there's a clear evidence of seasonality given the exogenous factor known as COVID-19. Clearly, COVID-19 affects retail sales. Sales would start to grow again by the end of 2021, yet they would not be the way they were pre-COVID by the start of 2022. If COVID-19 ends in spring or summer 2021, there is still evidence of seasonality. However, sales will still start to grow again at their previous peak by the end of 2021. This will account for Christmas and Black Friday sales. If COVID-19 continues throughout this year and into next year, aka our worst case scenario, seasonality is present during the start of COVID-19. Sales will continue to climb by the end of 2022 as we progress through the COVID-19 pandemic. But sales, and with the random forest algorithm, sales clearly decreased significantly during COVID-19. However, post-COVID-19 sales are projected to peak again, yet dip again due to lingering COVID-19 effects. Now let's get into our conclusions. Clearly, from my research, I can conclude that the ARIMA and SARIMA models showcase how large the effects of the pandemic truly are. The SARI-MAX model predicts how quickly the economic recovery will be based on how long the pandemic will last. It seems that the longer the pandemic lasts, the quicker the recovery as we get used to life during our new and temporary pandemic normal. The random forest algorithm shares the fact that lingering effects of the pandemic will be around the longer the pandemic progresses. So for future studies that I could do based on this study, I can update the models that I have done as new sales data comes in, such as Q4 of 2020 and all the financial quarters in the years 2021, 2022, and even beyond those years. I can apply further studies on random forest techniques to the current data set. I can also apply other machine learning techniques within the world of machine learning to the current data set. I can utilize the same techniques to Lilly Pulitzer's competitors' data and compare. Lilly Pulitzer's competitors are Vineyard Vines, Tory Burch, and Kate Spade. I can apply these techniques to more frequent data such as weekly, monthly, or daily. Thank you for coming and listening. If you have any questions or want a full list of references, please contact me at my email listed here. Bye.